I don't know what happened. I was supposed to take her to the Fireflies and walk away. You go halfway across the country with someone. She needed her immunity to mean something. Maybe I was starting to buy into that old cure business. Maybe I just wanted to do right by her. And then we made it. We found the Firefly. Because of her, they were actually going to make a cure. The only catch, it would kill her. Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
Jesus Christ, Joe. What do you do?
I saved her. Come on, baby girl. I got you. I got you.
Cover the exit. Don't let him get away.
God damn. That's a lot. What does Ellie know?
I told her they just ran some tests. I told her her immunity meant nothing.
And she believed you?
I didn't say otherwise.
We should head back.
Hey guys, it's Evergreen, and today I want to review The Last of Us 2. And this was a game I was extremely against paying $60 for, because at first, with all the leaks, I kind of developed an unjustified hate towards this game, and the direction that they went with the story kind of threw me in the wrong side of the grass, I guess you could say. Back in 2013, Naughty Dog released a phenomenal new IP, and it instantly became a classical hit that all PlayStation gamers knew. So, being that I was a die-hard fan, I instantly got angry when I heard about the leaks, and I developed this reason to hate the game that was based off of what a snippet that I knew as far as the story would go. Believing that it didn't deserve the praise that it got at the Game Awards back in 2020. Well, now it's 2022, and I finally opened my eyes to something I once despised. And today I want to go over as much as I can with the time that I have. So in my usual fashion, I want to start with the story portion, of the review. However, I kind of have to break it up into two parts to portray two sides of the story for clarification. So, we're going to start off with Ellie. The game starts out shortly after the events of the first game, with Joel confessing what happened with the Fireflies to Tommy, while he cleans a new guitar for Ellie. There seems to be a tense feeling with Joel and Ellie as he gives the new guitar to Ellie. And we get this touching moment where he plays a song for her which yanks at the heartstrings. Transition 9 years from the events of the first game, and we're introduced to an older yet familiar duo. But there's a much larger rift between them now, and it's more apparent. Joel is tortured and murdered right in front of Ellie, making the journey of revenge feel more personal. Before the dust has settled, Tommy is on the hunt for Abby and her crew. He wants vengeance. Tommy's wife informs Ellie about it and allows Ellie and Dina to set out on this search for Tommy with the ulterior motive of justice for Joel. Ellie seems to be following a trail of warm bodies everywhere she goes until she finds Nora. Nora was the first one who wasn't dead, who had some answers, and Ellie pulled out all of the information that she could out of her. The scene starts out outside of the hospital, and the chase sequence is started. Nora and Ellie fall into a hole where clickers and spores roamed, and the best part is using the clickers to hunt down the WLF soldiers while you slip through the cracks. Ellie finally catches up to Nora and reveals to Nora that Ellie was the one that the Fireflies were after to begin with, leading to an interrogation to find out where Abby was, which led us to the aquarium. But between each major locations, there's plenty of side areas and experiences that urge exploration, such as the location where you find the shotgun in Seattle. There was a bank heist that happened the day of the outbreak, and a guy got stuck in the vault and ended up unaliving himself. The journey to the aquarium brought Jesse into the mix, Dina's ex-boyfriend, and he helps Ellie get into the aquarium in relatively one piece. While in the aquarium, Ellie caps a prego bitch and some guy who seemed to have a connection to the whole thing. Well, she only shot them because they didn't give up Abby's position, and the guy that got involved, his name's Owen. He kind of was the one that lunged at the gun that Ellie had out. So I personally put that on him. Ellie takes it rough, but she wakes up at the HQ, and that's when she's ambushed by a very pissed Abby. That's where the game transitions over to Abby, and we're allowed to see her point of view from her side. So we're going to get into Abby's story. We are put in the shoes of a young Abby, set before the events of the first game. She's out with her father, but technically looking for him because he kind of went out on his own. We are shown a little bit of her backstory where it's revealed that her father was the doctor that Joel killed to save Ellie, and she finds her father dead on the ground and learns the name of her father's killer, Joel. She then spends the next few years searching for clues on where Joel is. She and her crew find the town of Jackson. Abby makes a lone adventure to find Joel when she is nearly torn to pieces by a horde. She is rescued last minute possible by Joel himself, along with Tommy. They fight for survival. Then Abby lures them to their hideout where she continues her vengeful path. After she kills Joel, she is set on a path where she merely misses Ellie and Tommy as they seek for justice. It's at this time that we get to see a side of Abby that makes her more than just a villain. She has her own demons and human struggles. She and her group are facing a war with this cult known as the Scars or the Seraphites. Her ex-lover is throwing mixed signals, acting like he doesn't know if he wants to be with her or if he wants to be with Mel. He doesn't know what he wants. She finds two young Scars, or Seraphites. They help her to survive some infected and clickers, so she helps them escape their crazy cult. She develops a close relationship with them, and we get to see a side of her that we weren't expecting to see. As she goes from the bitch that killed Joel to the girl who just wanted her dad and justice for her father. She's looking for her ex, Owen, and when she finds him, she finds out that he's trying to get away from all this crazy shit. However, Lev, one of the Scars, wants to save his mom from the war that's coming. Yara, another Scar, and Abby set out to stop him. Shortly after getting there, the war starts, because the Seraphites have their own little island that they kind of had an agreement with the Wolf Soldiers. Somewhere along the line, somebody went to go attack them on their turf, and that's why there's been ambushes and there's a war starting, is because somebody broke the peace treaty. They find Lev, and by the time they get back to Owen, Abby is no longer considered a wolf. She doesn't really know where to put herself. She's killing wolves, but also she's killing Seraphites along with Lev and Yara. So she's kind of put in this hard spot where she doesn't know who she belongs to anymore. And when she gets back to the aquarium, Owen and Mel are dead, with a map covered in blood that reveals the location of her attackers. She finds Ellie, Jesse, Dina, and Tommy. She and Ellie get into this fight to the death when Lev stops her, and then they flee to Southern California. There's a little further that goes into the story on both of their sides, because at this point in the game, I thought it was done. I thought, okay, they're leaving it up for a third game. But no, the game just keeps going on for another like 5 to 10 hours after this point. And I was really not expecting that at all. Now we got to talk about the controversy that led us to the point that we're at now, and the one that I was talking to about in the very beginning. Before the game was even able to hit store shelves, we got this massive leak about Joel's death, and it caused an uproar in the community, causing many of us, like myself, to write the game off before they even tried it. After playing this game, I'm mad the leak didn't allow me to witness his death with a surprise, because his death is the driving force for this game. It was something many games didn't want to try because it takes gut to change the normal flow of how games work. Naughty Dog got so much hate from people who didn't even play the game, and that's disappointing because they made a fantastic story and they put so much work in it to just get hate because the story got uncomfortable from what we're normally used to, like our happy endings bullshit that doesn't always happen. No, after playing this game, I honestly urge anyone who is on the fence to just play it. You will not regret it. It is a phenomenal story with the driving force that made the whole reason feel necessary. Like Ranton says in his review for Ghost of Tsushima, we're used to the same thing, and The Last of Us 2 challenged that idea. And that's why so many gamers were mad. They had made up their mind prematurely. Like, the story was about the cycle of death. No matter who dies, somebody's always going to come out for revenge. And it was about breaking the cycle. And I don't think a lot of people saw that whenever the leaks came out, because I didn't know any of the stuff that happens in the story was going to happen. And I can tell you right now that after playing through it and seeing the story and understanding the whole point was to break the cycle. Okay? Joel's death was a moment to break the cycle. However, the whole game was a representation of how the cycle was gonna be continuing on, how it wasn't gonna just end with Joel's death. Because if Joel dies, now Abby has to die. Abby didn't die, Owen dies, Abby's pissed, Abby goes to kill Ellie, when Ellie wasn't the one that she was after in the first place. Dina wasn't the one she was after in the first place. All these people died when it wasn't supposed to be that way. It was just supposed to be Joel. So, to go with the controversy, a lot of people think that Joel fucked up. I don't think that's the case. Joel loved Ellie, and he saw her as a daughter. And so, as any father would do, he decided to protect her at all costs, even if that meant murdering people and lying about what happened. Which, in the long scope of things, it's like, he didn't do anything wrong, you know? Neither did Abby. Abby didn't do anything wrong either. After all this, my mind is made up that nobody did anything wrong. Abby just wanted revenge. She wanted her dad back. Joel wanted his daughter back. He had a second chance to be a father, and he did what he could with that, and he ended up paying for it with his life. Now, Abby, she wanted her dad back, but the only way that she could get any type of comfort was to kill the person who killed her dad, which didn't really bring her any comfort in the end. Without getting further into the controversy, we can get into that in the comments. The gameplay is so perfect. I wish more games had these mechanics. This game takes into account, crawling out of water. And you don't just, step out of water. You can crawl out of water as if you're trying to stay stealthy. You can literally crawl out of the water, which I don't know. Maybe that's something that I shouldn't be blowing up, but to me it was phenomenal how that was just a thing you could do. The AI reacts to certain ways you injure them. So you take a shotgun, you shoot somebody in the leg, that leg's gone, but they're not dead instantly. They're going to be like freaking out because now their leg's gone, or it's just busted and like you can see it hanging off and they're there holding it, just trying to survive. You even learn ways to use different distractions of like using cars. Like you can walk up to a car and bash its window in and then run for cover, and something will come looking at it. And that's an easy way to find out if there's anything around you, is to make a lot of noise. This game truly is an experience that not many games have been able to deliver, as far as making you feel vulnerable yet well equipped to handle your situations. The gameplay is what keeps the game fluid and engaging. The story alone could keep me playing, but the gameplay is what made me want to hop on each day to play. There are so many mechanics to this game, it's unreal. Like, each character has their own play types too. Like, Ellie is a fearless and enraged. While playing as Abby, you feel like a tank, but you get vertigo just looking off of edges of like tall buildings or whatever, which I honestly appreciated because I freeze when I'm up too high also. You can customize your guns and even use the skill tree felt better than ever. Like, taking apart guns was realistic, yet also didn't feel like a chore. The way I can just add a compensator or even change out the grips or even adding a mag extension all felt very well handled, especially like coming from a gun nut. There's even parts where you're working on your gun as Ellie and you get ambushed mid customization, and the gun you're using or customizing, it was just left on the table because you're attacked mid customizing. The game takes into all accounts all these possibilities, and honestly, everything in this game feels so cinematic, like a breathtaking adventure that I wish I would have experienced sooner. And playing with the 7.1 surround system brought this world to life in a way no other game that I've played so far with it has. The way the sound cues exploit enemies and bring a new dimension to the game was incredible. Like, the sound design of this game was perfect. I loved how it just felt like I was there. It didn't feel like it was just some game. It just felt so crisp and real. The world that The Last of Us 2 portrays has so much storytelling, from notes found throughout the level to the way the bodies lay in the streets. Enemies having names for themselves and even their dogs, with them yelling out the fallen allies' names and seeking revenge, making each encounter feel so alive. This world is so gorgeous. Like, I haven't felt connected to a virtual world in a long time, and the way the plant life has overgrown over the brick and steel buildings, and seeing the fungus growing off walls and feeling contained to certain areas. There isn't a lot of changes in enemy types from the first game, but they all feel more lethal now. Like points in the game where there's clickers or infected and WLF soldiers, or even the Seraphites, feel intense, because like the AI even knows how to hide and knows to stay quiet around the fungus and the infected and the clickers. However, you can create chaos by throwing a bottle near a soldier and watch the clickers go crazy. Seeing them fight each other for survival is just as satisfying as in Days Gone. The world has seen 10 more years of the infection, and it shows the people have adapted better to the new ways of life, and then some of them are still kind of stuck in the old ways. Survival is the way of life in this game, and each person has had to do things that kept them alive. From killing to losing a friend or even losing a limb, no one is unscathed from the world around them. In summary, when I went into this game, I was expecting a decent game with things I knew were going to prove me right for not playing sooner. However, within the first 10 hours, I realized my flaws with my mindset. I was expecting this game to fail and for all the hate to be justified. However, I was clearly wrong. The mindset I had when this game came out wasn't properly formed, and I fell into the hate train easily. Looking back, it was stupid. For me and many others to just outright write this game off was childish and uncalled for, especially for those who wrote death threats to the creators of this game. After all the things that I've listed, it's clear how I see this game. It's easy for me to give the story a 9.5 out of 10. The characters, a 9 out of 10. The gameplay, a 10 out of 10, and the world, a 10 out of 10. This is one of those games I will play through more than once, easily. And if you haven't played The Last of Us 2 ever, or even since launch, I highly recommend a playthrough or a replay, because this is a gaming feat in its own right. And it deserved the Game of the Year award in 2020. And I personally think that anyone who has played the first game and loves the story will love the story of this game. And they will find themselves addicted to the gameplay just as much as I was. So I appreciate you for watching my review. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're able to, share it with your friends. Like, that's all I really got. I appreciate everything, and peace, love, homies.
If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself. Everything I have found here, I'm not found by myself. Try and sometimes you'll succeed to make this man of me. All my stolen missing parts I've no need for anymore, 'cause I believe 'cause I can see our future days, days of you and me. There you go.
Well, that didn't suck.
I'll take what I can get.